Hello. Well, thank you for all being here for me. I decided to start the class with, I don't know, was there anybody who saw Oink yesterday? Hands? Oh, pretty, okay, a lot. So, I'm going to tell this little story. So we made Oink. I will tell about it later, but it took 8 years to develop and to get the money and blah, blah, blah. You have to be really patient, which I'm not. And after Oink was finished, because we made it during COVID, totally during COVID, and the Dutch Film Fund at a time they gave a grant which was called Music Mayday. So you could apply for an idea, and then you could get money and make a movie in a short time. It was to support, the Dutch filmmakers to keep working during COVID. And we were finishing Oink, and we saw this, and we made Oink with a very small team. I will tell you later. But so we were like, oh, let's apply. And I had this idea to make a movie about the parents of Babs, the girl with the little pig, because I really loved the parents. And I wanted to make a prequel of Oink about their love story when they were adolescents. And so we made this movie. It's 20 minutes in 6 months, like totally. So we recycled a lot of sets. We made a few new puppets. But it's the story of the beginning of Oink, actually. It's the story 25 years ago when the grandfather was still in Holland. And it's a musical. Well, I hate musicals. I say it's a movie with songs. It's 20 minutes, and I really think it's nice to watch it. And then after, I'm going to talk about Oink. I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but I'm doing it together with Lea. She will ask me questions, but you can also ask questions later on. It's an open thing. I'm open for everything. So let's watch the movie, I would say, and then start. Okay. Oh, also, I brought 2 puppets, but I will show them later. So, well, that was the movie. Did you recognize the parts out of Oink, the people who saw the movie? Yes? Great. So, let me talk about Oink first. We started a long time ago, and it's a nice story, actually. I made short films. I started making stop-motion movies 30 years ago, and then I did a lot of other things. And then at a certain point, I met Marleen, who's my producer, and we started to make short movies. And it's really stupid, but I live in an old butchery. So my house used to be a butchery. And I made the downstairs part of my house into a small studio. So we had to work in a really small scale. And when we started with Oink, of course we needed a lot bigger place. So we bought an old garage. I come to that later. But when we did all these short movies, Marleen at a certain point said, Mascha, I want to make a feature film with you. And I did art school. I never studied film. And when I was in art school, I saw a guy doing a stop motion, because I was doing paintings and I made cartoons. But I saw this guy doing that, and then I thought, this is what I want to do. So I did it all by myself, and this was like in 1991. So there was no YouTube. Nobody knew how to do it. So so I taught myself with, I did it in a way nobody had done things before even, and so that's how I got into stop motion. And so when Marleen asked me to do a feature film, I was like, yeah, but I don't, I made short films, but to do a feature film you need, knowledge of script and blah blah. And she said, no, we'll do it from a book. And I said, okay, I love Roald Dahl. And I said, okay, and then I wanted to do the Twits. The Twits is my favorite Roald Dahl book. Do you know the book, The Twits? Or the Twats, what is it actually? The Twits, I think. Well, it's about these two elderly people who tease each other the whole time. And of course, we couldn't do that because the rights were at Disney. And in Arnhem, where I live, there's a little bookstore. And I went in there, and there's elderly people there working too. And I went in there and I said, hello, I'm Mascha. I want to make a feature film out of a Roald Dahl kind of book. Do you have a book for me? And they gave me this book, the Oink's Revenge, it's called. And I read the book because Marleen, my producer, thought, wow, this is going to take 6 months to find the book. But it was just like, I just went into the store, I bought the book, I said, this is the book. I went to Marleen and said, I want to make a movie out of this book. And no, but this is just something else which I think is really funny. Because the movie is called Oink. In Holland, it's Knorr. In Germany, it's Oink. I don't know, how is the movie called in Slovakia? Pig? Quick. Quick. Yeah, okay.
We also use Krog.
You also do? Okay. Nice. Yeah, I like this map because it was sold into like 30 countries. So all of a sudden somebody came up with this map. Well, everybody has seen the movie. I have a trailer of Oink, but sorry, without English subtitles, but I'll show it.
Paps, dit is je opa uit Thuisjes.
Oh, uit Amerika.
De enige echte.
Je allergrootste wens gaat uitkomen. Een puppy? Oh.
En nu is het tijd voor mijn cadeau. Alsjeblieft.
Dit is echt gewoon het allermooiste cadeau wat ik ooit heb gekregen. Dit is Knor.
Nee, dit wordt een ramp.
Mam, alsjeblieft.
Oké, maar er komen regels.
Regel 1. Knor mag niet in huis.
Nee, oh, jongens, nee.
Regel 2. Knor mag niet in de moestuin.
Knor, blijf staan.
Kom hier.
En regel 3. Knor mag nergens poepen.
Het lijkt me nu duidelijk dat het beest gewoon weggaat.
Jij denkt alleen maar aan jezelf.
Ik sta op het festival van de worstwedstrijd.
Wie wil er nou worstjes maken van schattige varkentjes? Wat dacht je van de slager? Als Knor zich nou wel zou kunnen gedragen, dan zou hij ook geen regels meer breken.
Hoe gaan wij dit varken iets leren?
Vandaag beginnen we met het puppy-examen.
Zet hem op bij Knor. Ja! Spelen, eten, slaan. Spelen, eten, slaan. Hij moet terug naar de boerderij. En dat wil ik niet, want ik hou zoveel van je. Kunnen we het niet nog 1 keertje proberen?
Nee, sorry.
So, okay, for the people who haven't seen Oink, it's about this grandfather you just saw in King Sausage, who left for 25 years, he comes back. He's supposedly been in the USA, and it's her birthday. He buys. She wants a puppy, a dog. He buys her a pig, and she thinks it's going to be her pet pig, but he wants to use the pig for the sausage competition and win it because he lost 25 years ago, and he was disqualified 25 years ago, and now he could go back and he wants to win. So this is the book I just told you about. And what appealed to me, because the movie ends with a vegetarian note, because in the end she makes vegetarian sausages. You see the point in the movie, the mother becomes a vegetarian, and you see now why. In King Sausage, you saw why she became a vegetarian. I am not a vegetarian, and the message of the vegetarian was not the most important thing to me in this movie. But anyway, I'll come back to that later. I'll start. So 8 years ago, I went into this bookstore. Then we asked the woman who wrote the book, can we get the rights? We got the rights. And then I asked Fiona van Heemstra. She wrote the script. And I had to make artwork to get money. So what I do is I make a few drawings. These are the drawings. Because for me, a drawing is something else than a puppet. So I can make 300 drawings, but then you still have to make the puppet. So I'm a very pragmatic person. So I think, no, I just make 2 drawings. And then it's fine. Because for me, you see it already. For me, that's the character. I think, okay, this is a nice character. And then I start making the puppets. So all the first puppets of Oink and also of King Sausage were just made by me at home. And I cannot sew or anything, but I already found all the cloth, the fabrics I wanted to use. And then I just glued it together. I'll show you later. I'm talking a bit down about this, but for me, it's a process of, I think with my hands, actually, because I have the drawing, and then I think, okay, I'm going to make the heads. And when it's done, it's done. It takes a few hours. The person that took me the longest was the grandfather, because he is a charismatic but also a bad person. So he has to look nice and not nice at the same time. And at first I had him without the mustache. And then all of a sudden I thought, I'm going to give him a mustache. Because then he hides something bad in him in a way. I don't know. And that worked. So I made these puppets, and also what I was thinking about, I wanted to make a movie. It's about Holland, of course, but I didn't want to be in the Holland everybody knows, like, you know, with canals and the canal houses and the windmills and the blah-de-blah. I thought, no, I want to make it of a village. This is actually kind of looks of the village where I grew up in. It's just like a Phoenix village, yeah. So I drove around a lot and took pictures of villages and places I liked, houses I liked, and made a mood board out of it. So, and then, I made pictures of, you know, because I made a lot of short films, I had some props and things laying around, so I made pictures with the puppets. This is all what I did at home, and this is, you get funding for it to make your artistic development of the movie. So this is what I did, and I really enjoyed it. I did this alone and with, I don't know if I can turn this down. Can the music be down a bit? So, you know, in 3D animation, you always have these turnarounds of characters. And I thought, okay, I'll make that with the characters I made, and you see it's all glued. But you also see it's already the characters that are also in the movie. And the puppet builders, it was done at P3. I don't know if you know P3, but it's a Dutch, they're Dutch puppet builders, and they're very skilled people. And they made molds out of the heads and made them nicer, of course. And they made all the puppets a lot nicer. But it's really nice to have this design process like this. Also, because they actually you see it. They actually look a lot like the real characters in the film. So, for me, that's a really important process. But you can ask, if anybody has a question already, you can ask, but you can also ask it later.
Can I maybe ask about this boy, the friend of Babs?
Yeah,
I think he looks a bit different than in the movie.
He's the only one I changed. Because he looks a lot like my son. My son he's 18 now, but then when we started, he was 10, and he was skateboarding. So, and they skateboard in the movie too. And people say I look a lot like the main character, Babs, not as a person, but as a. You always think I think you do a bit like you are yourself somehow. He's the only one we changed a bit, because I was not happy with his look in the one I made.
I would say he looks a bit rough comparing to the film.
To how he is later,
the sleeves and everything.
Yeah. No, he was too rough, I thought. He had to look a bit more nice. So, as you know, if you make a feature or a short film, you work with an animatic. I don't know, you do that too here? Okay, great. Well, before this movie, I never did that, because I just made some scribbles, and because I'm there anyway, so I do the editing. You always start with the sound. If you have a dialogue-driven movie, I start with recording with the actors, and I record the actors for real, together. So they're doing the scene, they are boomed, so they're not behind the mic. They are really acting. Because for me, the sound actually is almost more important than the image. If the acting is well, the animators will love to animate it also. But also, if I hear the actors doing the scene, I can tell if the scene will work or not. And it's much better to do it than to do it with scratch voices. Of course, it's more expensive, but I would totally recommend that. If you are doing that, please record with the real actors, and take notice to the sound, because it's the beginning of everything. And so I have an example here of it's one part, and then it's also one of my favorite. It goes into one of my favorite scenes of the movie, but it's an example of the moving storyboard. Then together with the and then we go into the scene. And what I want to tell about the scene, a lot of people saw it yesterday, but so what I like about animation, well, you can have animation and you can have a lot of wild camera shots and stuff. But I like to do the ordinary things, like the food here.
Vlees nog in de oven?
Er komt geen vlees in.
It's so difficult to do this. But if you make it look as if it's so normal, and you go into the scene, can the sound be a little bit higher?
Nee, ook die hormonen waar ze mee worden volgestopt, hè, zodat jij een groter biefstukje op je bord krijgt. Dat heb ik nog eens over kip. Hè? Kip wordt ook gewoon volgespoten met antibiotica.
Weet je, ik denk dat je vader het wel heeft begrepen.
Natuurlijk, zoals ze zeggen. Een man van fatsoen eet veel groen voor het seizoen.
Oh mijn god.
Wat een prachtige painting is dat. Wie heeft dat geschilderd?
Ja, dat is een echte...
Mahobi.
Mahobi. Ja, inderdaad, op een veiling op de kop getikt.
Aha. En die leuke face, ook van de veiling?
Ja, nee, dat is dus Margreet's hobby. Dat is wel leuk, die heeft ze helemaal zelf gemaakt.
Nou, knap werk, Margreet.
Ja, vind ik ook. Ja, nou, ze begonnen mee als therapie, maar toen bleek dat ze echt...
Nou,
Au!
En ook nog heerlijk gekookt, Margreet. Delicious, toch, Babs?
What I love about this scene is also we did it with all the actors, and it was just great when they were acting it already because it's very subtle. I love subtle things in the animation. This is for me the most important thing, and also you feel like at a certain moment. I love it when you're, as the person who's watching the movie, not thinking anymore at a certain point, I'm watching an animation film, I'm just watching a movie. And it's a bit it's a bit of a, contradiction because, of course, I'm making an animation film, but I just want to suck you in a world, my world. And it doesn't matter for me that it's... a world, it's my world, but the animation part in that sense for me is not really that important. For me, the acting and the subtlety of things is very important. And also, of course, there's in Oink there's a lot of non-subtle things because of all the poop and that thing. But the contrast I really like, and I like that they are eating. And eating seems a very normal thing, but in animation it's hell, to do. And if it works and it looks really normal, then for me, I'm really happy. So here are some pictures of the actors. Okay, so we started Oink, and Marlene and I decided, okay, we can rent a place, but we can also buy a place. And we this place was 500 meters from my house, and it's an old garage from the 1930s, and it was in a really, really bad shape, and we could buy it really cheap. And we bought it with our own money. We loaned money from our parents and friends, and we did not have a bank involved. And we thought, okay, we're going to take this risk because we want to make more movies, so we'll just buy this place. And at the same time, so two things happened. There wasn't COVID yet, but we bought this. And we had to start the movie, and there was no contractor on this. I did the building part of this also. So it's Marlene and me in front of the studio, and this is what happened. We took out the whole floor, and this was the most depressing moment, one of the most depressing moments in my life. Because here I thought, what did we do? Oh my God. Because, it was very bad. So here, okay, but it went well. Then we put in floor heating, 6 kilometers of floor heating cable through this whole studio. And I was doing this, and at the same time we rented a small studio to start working on the sets. So this is the studio now. This is our kitchen. We all love food, so... but it's all second-hand stuff we bought everywhere. But at the same time, we were in this old school, starting with the sets. And we grew out of it. And it was really funny because on March 13th, 2021, I think it was, we moved into the studio, but then they closed the whole country. So we moved and then COVID started on the same day. So, and we were like, oh my God, it worked, because otherwise, you know, we would have had a real problem. Because we grew out of this place. So this is still at the old studio, but it was really meta, because I was doing small sets at this studio, and then 500 meters away, I was doing a big studio building. So for me, I was on my bike, driving forward to the one place and then to the other place, and managing both. But anyway, here you just see it's at the other place, how we make the first sets. And it's all in very small scale. I brought two of the puppets. And you can touch them all later. So this is Oink. He's really small. And you would say, okay, so I'm going back to the part where I worked in my own butchery. So if you have a small place and you want to make big movies, you have to work in a small size. And I got used to the small size. And what I really like about it, compared to normal stop motion, I think we work scale 1:8. And normal stop motion is at least 1:6 scale, so it's more Barbie scale. It's a bit bigger. And what I like about this is when you're a bit smaller, things become cuter somehow, and you see the fabrics more, and you're more basic somehow. And this is the other grandfather is broken, so I took the one where he is taking the shower. But you can see the puppets are really small. The animators and the puppet builders were saying fucking small, Mascha, not good. And the animators in the beginning were also not really happy, because they have eyelids and really small mouth. They have to, move. But I really like it. And even though our studio is 650 square meters, I'll come back to that later, how we did it. But it's still small. When you make a feature film, the bigger you go, the bigger your sets have to be, the more space you need. So I really wanted to stay at this scale, which I like, and I like it. So also I like to work in camera, and I like to avoid green screen or blue screen or whatever screen. So we made a lot of big screens with skies, and this is the place where we made the sets. It's also in the studio. It's just to show. So we had like 7 people who were building sets. And then I had 5 animators. We worked for a year and a half animating, but we only animated 4 days a week, because a lot of people, some came up from Belgium, some came from, a lot of places. And I thought they got an Airbnb for 3 nights a week, and they could go home. the other 3 nights. And also I think when you work a year and a half, 4 days a week is enough. And we had normal days. If you do such a long movie, you have to be good to the people. And of course you saw the kitchen, there was good food. And I think what you see with Oink, and I think it's one reason why the movie somehow became successful. We made it during COVID, but you can tell we had so much fun doing it. And it is because we did it not by... We worked really hard, but we were not overworking, you know. About the puppets also, like I said, were made at P3. And there is here up there you see the eyelids, and they are really small, like fucking small, like they said, and the mouth. So you have a difference between the puppets of all the puppets had hard plastic heads, and you could remove the mouth and the eyebrows and the eyelids. But the grandfather, of course, he had you can move him totally. He's a total different puppet, and very expensive puppet too. And I chose for that because I wanted him to be an outsider anyway, so he had to be a different puppet. That's actually the reason. Here are some props. They're made. They were all made by one guy. He's called Peter Mansveld, and he was our own MacGyver. Without him, no studio. Here are some props out of the movie. This is Peter. So he did a camera, light, rigging, the motion control camera, and he built all these props. Here are just some examples of the sets. What we tried to do. Well, let's see here. So I'm directing this movie, and then people say, "Oh, a director. What does a director do?" Well, a director does a lot. So we had 5 animators, and then we had 9 sets. So 4 sets had to be, made, prepared for the end. When one animator was finished, he could go on, or she could go on the other set. And what we did, we worked with reference movies. Here you just saw here. Hold on. So this is Jasper. He was one of the lead animators. He records himself. He shows this to me, and then I say, okay, this is good. We do the scene. And if you have 5 animators doing that, because I'm not gonna walk all day checking the animators, because for them it would be totally annoying to have me there and looking over their shoulders. So they make these reference movies, or we make them together. And I'll come back to it later. We had a motion control cam too, 2 or 3 I think we had. But I avoided, the camera for me is important as a tool, but like I said, for me the animation part of having like really nice camera shots is not my thing. It's more, I'm really a storyteller, and the camera has to have a function when it moves. I don't want it to move if it doesn't have a function for me. So here are some examples of Jasper doing his reference. His reference movies. And the other animators do it too. So they show me these clips, and then we laugh or not, and I say, okay, this is good, and then they do it. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing this. Yeah, it's all Jasper, because the other ones, animators are really shy people normally. They're like, they want to be actors, but like they can't, so, but Jasper is the least shy of them. But the other ones, like Miriam, she's Flemish, and this is also a nice story, because I have 5 animators, and I actually cast them at a certain point to do certain scenes, because I know this animator is good with this. Jasper was very good with the grandfather, so he got a lot of scenes with the grandfather. But I have another Flemish Belgian animator, Miriam, and she's very shy and awkward. And in King Sausage, the movie you just saw, she did all the awkward scenes, but she also deletes her reference movies immediately, because she's so ashamed of it. So I unfortunately cannot show her reference films. And but it's really nice, because when you do this, you also get a lot. This is also a thing about stop motion. Stop motion gives you a lot of presence. You do something, and then always unexpected things happen, which is really nice, and mostly they're always presents, but also with these reference films, because you do this, you start really thinking about the character, how he or she moves, and Jasper especially is very good at that. And here you also have an example of how small the size is. And also, what I do, or we, but what I started doing in my butchery, because I didn't have that much space, the church and a lot of houses in the background, they're just printed. We made a photograph and printed it. And it gives a lot of depth, and you don't have to build the set. So you build the front part, but you don't build the back part. Yeah, here you can see it. So we work a lot in camera to create the depth. And these are the tricks I just learned from having a small place, but also being pragmatic, because this movie, it had a nice budget, but not a big budget. So it's good to think about where you're going to put the money, what we also did, this shot, for instance, so this is like live keying. It's behind a monitor, and you animate the background, which was an animation already, into the foreground, and you do it together. So you get, a live keying, actually. Also, just to be pragmatic, and it's nice to do it live, because you can have trees in the front, you get the shadows. It's and this is what I really like about stop motion, is that you can improvise everything, and every day there were problems, and every day we had to solve them, and I love solving problems, and that's why, because like I said, I'm a very impatient person, and the only reason I can keep doing this is because there are problems, you have to solve them, and every day is a new challenge, and then, for me it keeps being exciting somehow. So here you see Jasper again, preparing the animation. But this is a technique so simple, but it works so well. And it's really nice. Here's an example. This was a big total shot. So you have to shoot the shot in different parts. So here I did use a part of green screen. because there's so many characters, you cannot do it all at once. Yeah, and this is just going through the studio with all the scenes. So we had like 3 big sets where we could have outside sets. And here you see the printed photos of the houses too. It's for fast setting up. You know, you start slow, but at one moment we became so fast in setting up sets. That's why we could do King Sausage in 6 months. Because we were so good at it at a certain point. Yeah, and this is also so. Who saw Oink, the end scene with all the following of the tractors and stuff? This was a scene we did all during the whole year and a half of production. For me, it's really hard because I like to do a scene at a time with one animator. So because I edit too, so I can put it in the edit, think about it, and maybe change some shots. But we couldn't with this. But here you also see an example of using the forced perspective, because the back is just really small, and we had a mix of this with miniature together to create like a huge scenery, which it wasn't. It was actually a very small set. So yeah, this ends kind of Oink, and then, like I told you, we got money for to make King Sausage, and we did that in 6 months, and we rebuilt out of the children. We made the father and the mother. So we made these new puppets, and we made some new props. And this is just really, this is a reference, but Pinchy's the set dresser. She came in while he was recording his reference. Yeah. And the animators always make stupid pictures of the things. So yeah, this is me going through all the material. So I'm ready for a lot of questions.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all these details about your filming. Of course, if you have questions, just let us know. We will give you this magic thing. But I will ask as the first one, because yesterday we saw the film, and actually I had the same questions on my mind when I...
Okay.
and there are 2. One is about the pooping all the time.
Yes.
That's something I would say extraordinary in a children's film. And the other one is the bad guy of this film, because it's quite unusual to have a family member who is banned from the family twice, actually. This is the first time it's in the prequel, and then again he's just a bad guy. And this is something that we are, I think, not used to working with, that the family member is just bad and you just have to cut him out. So this was something that was already in the book, or it's something that you...
No, it was in the book. It's a bit different in the book, but it was in the book. And I really like it because it's unusual to have a bad character staying bad. He is just bad. And it was really funny. I had I went to Gifoni in Italy, which is like a mob festival. If you ever go, it's fantastic. And it was shown to 1,000 Italian children, and they couldn't stop asking questions about the grandfather. Why is he so bad? And I tried to. And then I thought, I'm ruining their grandfather thing now. So I tried to answer the question, and they kept coming back with the same question, and then I just said, you know what, Dutch grandfathers are just really bad. So, you know, and then they were happy because I thought I can't ruin their Italian sense of, you know, especially in Italy, family is so important. But for me, it's obvious he is bad, but he's the only bad, you know, it's not normal that this happens, you know. But it could happen. And there are bad parents, and there are bad grandparents. And for me, making a children movies, you don't have to be, you know, nurture the child. You don't have to be careful about making children's movies because they, you know, at this moment, how can I explain it? It's so, children are being put in a box and you have to be so careful with, oh, you can't do this and oh, you can't do that. But on the other hand, they have TikTok and Instagram and they see the most terrible things. And I'm like, why do they have to be nurtured? You know, the children they are bigger by themselves, you know. They can make their own choices. So I want to make a movie where, you know, with Oink, at some point, children run out crying. But yeah, you cannot make a movie for everybody, you know. And you have to be edgy at some points. Because if you go into this state of being, you know, like everything, all the movies become flat. And you don't want to make flat movies, especially not for children, you know. So they need to see more. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think the most scary part for Slovak audience was the ending when the Oink was held on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's where a lot of children ran out crying.
Shouted, no.
Yeah.
And you showed us it was, I think, the second slide, the map of the Europe, and that the film was probably sold to like the most of the countries.
Yes.
And how was it working? Maybe this beside Italy.
Well, Italy was the one where these questions came. In Germany, I don't know. In Germany, the children get really good education, also film education. So they have like these great questions. So they were not that shocked. I know in South Korea it was the same thing. Mm-hmm. They were also like, they could not stop asking about the grandfather. And and for me, no, I think in the other, I did not get any complaints about other countries for that.
Okay, and the other question, the second thing that stuck in my mind was the pooping part.
Yes.
Was it again the part of the book, or it was something?
No, it was even worse in the book. And I was worse in the movie, but then because we made this movie with no concessions. The only concession I had to make, you saw it in the turnarounds, was the aunt was smoking. And we couldn't do that because, that was really bad for children. But that was a concession I was willing to make. She still has the cough, so you kind of know she still smokes. But the pooping, there was one scene in the end where the jury members eat the poop sausages and they spit it out, and the French distributor was like, no. But that was the only thing.
French?
Yes, French. Yes.
That's a surprise.
Yes. And the poop, the poop was a challenge also to make. I always get questions from the children, was the poop real? And like, no. It's really... really sticky silicone. Yeah, I should have brought some poop. Actually, I didn't. But it sticks. You know these animals when you were a child, you could throw against the window and they would like climb down these spiders or these things. Yeah, that kind of material the poop was made of. So you could stick it on anything and it would stick and could animate it. So, yeah.
Do you have any questions?
You didn't have more questions?
I
yet.
had, but I need to save them.
Okay.
And should I talk it? Okay, it's working. Awesome. Okay, so hi, thank you.
Hi.
I really, really love the movie. It's amazing, the technicalities and all of the visual parts. The only question I had in my mind the whole time, I became vegetarian in kindergarten because of the, like it's really relatable for me, this movie and the whole thing, but I am sure that I would be worried to communicate this to other kids maybe, like to send this message, because if I wouldn't have become a vegetarian so soon, I am sure that after seeing this movie I would have become a vegetarian. So aren't you afraid that all the kids will stop eating meat after seeing your film?
No, I'm happy. No, but I get this question a lot, and so I am not a vegetarian, but I do. I am a conscious meat eater, though. And I think it's important that children know where the meat comes from. And there are a lot of children that became vegetarian while seeing this movie, which I think is great, though, you know, because the meat industry is bad. But for me, like I said, it's not the message, it's not a main message. And I was surprised how many, because the producer of Fox and Hare, the movie I made after this movie, her daughter became a vegetarian after seeing my movie. And she was not that happy about it. But I think it is good to tell that story, though.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have just a little question. Like, what was the budget of the film, please?
Yes, 2.8 million of Oink, and the King sausage. I think we got 500,000.
Okay.
Can I also have one question? Which material did you use for heads?
The heads. So the grandfather here, he is silicon, totally. The other puppets, they have like hard plastic heads that was molded and in plastic, and the mouth and it's all plastic.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to ask, all the puppets have like switchable mouths?
Yes.
Except the grandfather. Yes. Is it like the artistic decision?
Yes. Yes. That was what I was explaining. I wanted him to be an outsider. So for him, he's the only one who can move his mouth, his eyebrows, and he has like a really... to make this in his size was also very a challenge. But it's absolutely an artistic choice, yes.
And which one did the animators prefer to animate?
Well, yeah, like Jasper preferred him. He was very good with him also. He was the best in the facial expressions, because this is a different technique to animate. But I think every animator had their own preferences for... so I had, for instance, Jasper doing this, but Marieke, she was very good with the animals, with Oink, and also with the dog trainer. So, and he's one of my favorite characters. So I gave her those scenes. But it differs for any animator. So one had that preference, and I gave them the shots which preference they had. So.
Hi. I have a question regarding the continuity between the two movies. I noticed that in the King Sausage, it's the first time that the Italian guy comes to town, but in the full-length movie, he won the prize
twice. Yes. Yes, but we had to do it, otherwise we didn't have the story, you know, but good that you noticed. But I wanted to make like a West Side kind of story, you know, where somebody comes in, and he could have won it, but he was then in another town, you know, being a butcher. So I kind of kept it a bit vague in that sense.
Thank you.
But good you noticed it.
Can I ask, how long did it take to renovate the studio that you bought the garage for? Like, how long did it take to like build the whole studio? Yeah.
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're continuing and with renting the studio for others as well?
Yes. So what I do, so our plan was we wanted the studio for our movies, but also for young, aspiring stop motion people. So we had now 3 productions in there also. So we rent it out, and at that point you know, because I want to support the small stop motion industry in Holland or in Belgium now too. So we had 2 Belgian productions in there, and there's now a big Dutch production in there. And we start our next movie by the end of this year. We go in production after the summer. And we also started on the movie after. So we want to continue this thing. So we're really happy it worked out, because it was a big risk. You saw it, but it turned out well.
I wanted to ask, because you said you built the studio from your own money or the money from your friends and family, and were your family and friends supportive of this idea, or what did you tell them to get this money from them?
Yeah, they were. Well, Marleen, so I think if it would only been me, they would be like, meh. But Marleen has a big company, and she had more money. We knew, and the friends and family knew, because we were doing the movie, we could pay them off at least for 2 years. With the rent, we could charge ourselves for the studio, and we are almost paid off also, because we are doing commercials now too, and that finally is good money. So we are almost paid off with the studio, and we're very proud of it too, because, you know, we're just 2 women trying to found something new, and it worked out. And we were, because I never, you know, the thing is with Oink, we made this movie. I just wanted to make this movie, but I wasn't making this movie thinking, oh, it's going to be successful. That was not why we were making this movie, and it became successful. And now we got, you know, because with Oink we had to wait, like I said, 6 years to get the funding done. And now for the new movie, it's done in 1.5 years. Because now they know us, they know everything, and now, but you never know in the beginning, you don't know how it turns out. It's a big risk, and luckily it turned out well. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, this was the first feature Dutch stop motion film.
Yes, it was the first Dutch feature stop motion film, and nobody had ever done it. And we didn't either. And we made a lot of mistakes, and we learned a lot from it, but we kept it in time frame, so that was good. And also, I think, as a tip for directors, because now there are 2 young directors doing stop motion, and I'm trying to tell everybody, like, you can leave shots that are not that nice in your movie, because, you know, in the trailer, for me, the trailer is awful, because it consists of 50 shots. The half of the shots in the trailer I don't like. But as a director, you have to look at it in a whole. You know, the movie as a whole. You will never you will notice the bad shots, but it doesn't matter because it's about the bigger story. And what young directors do, then they keep on going on, want to have every shot perfect, but it's not that important. I'm always trying to tell students, you know, because making your movie is much more important. And now, in my studio, these two young directors, and they're making a shot of a minute. There's somebody animating 4 weeks. I'm like, do close-ups in between, please. But no. And I know in the end they're going to cut it down because, you know. But, yeah, I don't know why I got to this point, but it doesn't matter.
I have one more question to the studio, but you don't have to answer if you don't want to. I don't know if it's okay to ask. But as you were saying that that in the studio there are 6 kilometers of the floor heating, I want to ask how much did it cost to build the whole studio?
The whole studio. It was yes, also a good story. I won't go into for a long time, but I have 3 elderly people, and the names don't sound that good in English, but they're called Theo and Tony and Edgar, and they're all 70 plus, and they did a lot of the building, so we could do it pretty cheap. I think if we would have done it with a contractor, it would have costed like 300,000 euros, and I think it costed maybe 100,000 now, because I did the building thing, and we had, you know, I spent every evening trying to get the cheapest deals. So we did it in a kind of cheap way.
I want to ask, are your other movies also based on a book or a novel? Or
No. No. So the new movie is an original story. And the short films I made were never based on a... But it was actually Marlene's idea, because it was the first feature I was going to make, and she thought it would be good to have like a book as a backup to get the story right. But then we completely changed the story of the book with the movie, because the book ends in a completely different way. It's something completely different.
Tell us.
Well, in the book, they catch the grandfather much earlier. They take him home, then Oink poops in the machine, and then they get the idea, and then they go back. But there's no going into, you know, with all the farm vehicles. That's not happening. It's completely different. But it's actually more boring, the book, in that sense.
And was the book famous before, or did it help with the promotion?
Well, it was famous within schools somehow. The writer is very famous. She made a lot of other books with other characters that are famous, but this book wasn't. But it is now, which is good for her too. Yeah.
And what is actually the main target audience for this film?
I thought 7 to 10, and then family. Or you mean this film?
No.
No, Oink. Yeah, 7 and 10.
Plus. And it's the same for the book, probably, or
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to ask you, didn't you think about to put the prequel into this whole story of the movie? The story before you made during pandemic, to put into the whole feature film.
Yeah, but the feature film was already released when we made, so we couldn't do it. But it's shown after, because the movie, which was very special. So in Holland, this film, you have these like film awards in Holland, and this was the first animated feature film that won Best Movie at the Dutch Award. So it was an historical moment. But also, it played for more than a year in the theaters in Holland. So when this movie finished, they put the movie after. So if you went to the movie, you had this movie as a bonus. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to ask, what was the author's reaction to this adaptation?
Oh, she's so happy. She was so happy. She said, the movie's better than my book. She said it on the Dutch news, and I was like, yes. And I still am in contact with her. She's coming to the premiere of my new movie. She's not involved, but we became friends.
Can you maybe tell us, I know that you are the director, not the producer of the film, but maybe tell us a bit more about this production side. As you said, it was developed for 8 years, and what was the process of getting the funds, and like, how did you manage to finish it from this point of view?
So it was a Dutch-Belgium co-production. So we got funding. Well, first we made the animatic, and we did it exactly as the book, because, and then, well, we didn't get the funding, so we had to go back, and then we completely changed the script, 70%, and then we went back again. Then we got the Dutch money, then we applied for the Belgium fund, but you can only apply once a year, and they only give one animation film a year. Foreign. So we didn't get it the first time either, so then we had to wait again. Then a year later got it, and in between, of course, made a lot of other short films. Then we went to Eurybrage. We had the Eurybrage, and then we were funded. I think it took Marleen in the end like 4 years. It was crazy.
That's our experience in Slovakia, quite usual one.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm so happy that it's not now. With this new movie, we're almost funded. We're funded this summer, and it went in like a year and a half, not even. So, and we like to keep it small. So we, because the thing is, you have it, of course, too. If you have a budget from Belgium, you have to spend that money in Belgium. And if you have more countries, you have to... But yeah, we wanted to do a co-production with Luxembourg, but what are you going to do in Luxembourg? You know, what? There are no stop-motion animators. They don't have studio. You know, you can do music or... But then those amounts are so small. With stop motion, it's such a small thing, so you can't even do co-productions with other countries because they don't have the people you can use, you know, somehow. So for us it was difficult, and I don't want, because I just finished a new movie and it's a 3D computer animation, and this was Belgium, Luxembourg, Holland, and it was awful because you have to be within 3 countries, and it's on the computer, so your meetings are on Zoom, and you're just talking, and you know, it's not fun in that sense. With this, you know, here I was in the studio all day walking around, and I was in full control of everything.
That's why you like stop motion.
That's why I like stop motion. Yes.
I have a question. You said the movie took 8 years to make. Can I ask how much of that was pre-production and how much of that was like the actual production of the movie?
Yeah. The actual production of the movie was 2 years with pre-production. So it's building sets and animating, and then finishing it up was 2 years. And doing the animatic was about a year, not a full year, but almost a year. And then because I recorded with the actors and then drawing the whole thing. And because your animatic has to be 100% ready, because otherwise you cannot go into pre-production. Because you need to know how many puppets, how many sets. The line producer has to figure out. Then it becomes a mathematical thing. But the production was 2 years. And it's pretty fast, actually. And then only 4 days a week. That's very important for us, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I please ask what was the hardest part about adapting the book? Because I can imagine that you want to somehow stay true to the material and also make it your own. What were the challenges of that?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges because like I said, we started with adapting it 100% like the book. And then it turned out that a book and a movie is a completely different things. Also, and this is because I was not experienced as a feature film director, or I didn't know the rules or anything. And my script writer Fiona, who's fantastic, she can lose herself in details, which is really great because she can write really well on the emotion, but sometimes she just, gets... I learned a lot that a scene has to have a function. And Fiona sometimes doesn't write with a function. She just writes for an emotion, which could be a function too. But so it took... In the beginning, so we adapt. And then we both got ideas. So Fiona added this chase in the end, which I think is completely brilliant. And I added the fact that he went to the USA. He doesn't in the book. Because I wanted him to be strange. And then I added the cowboy hat, and I added the fact that he had a banjo. Because I love music in the films. I thought he has... And the actor can sing really well, so I thought, he can sing songs if he has a banjo. So you get all these ideas while doing it. And because we had so much time and we could go back with sessions with the actors, because you get ideas from the actors too. When they improvise, they do a lot of improvisation when they do the scene. And that gives ideas too. So in that sense, it became something more of us. And the question of the writer is really nice because we involved her in every step. But if we wouldn't have, she probably would be like, what happened with my book, But because we involved her and explained why it didn't work, what the difference was, how it is in the book and how it is in the movie, she understood and accepted it too. But it was a long process. But with Fox and Hare, the movie I did after, is also from a book. And I learned so much from this that, with the process of doing the animatic and working with the actors went a lot faster. Because now I know, I'm not, I know how to follow my intuition on that better.
Maybe one more question about the book. What did you like about it? Why did it strike you that you got it in that bookshop and you were like, yes, I want to adapt this book? What was the thing?
Well, it was the permission with the sausage competition, but also the poop. And this grandfather, he fascinated me because in the book also he stays bad. And it is really a raw Dahl kind of book because in his movies, characters stay bad too, and that really struck me. And also this little pig who, I don't know, and the sausages, the whole, that it's so made so big, that it struck me immediately. I thought I want to make a movie out of this.
Maybe are you thinking about continuing with
No.
the story? No. Not anymore.
No.
The sequel was...
Well, we got, they wanted a series, But I think at a certain point you can do it out of commercial reasons, but then the challenge is gone, you know. I want to continue. Then at a certain point the fun goes off and it becomes something you do to make money, and that's not my intention in a sense.
I have a technical question.
Yes.
When the animators were animating walk cycles, they used like the rigs. Did they also like use screws from the bottom of the sets, or?
Yes. Yeah. They had like these bolts in the bottom of the set. Not always, but if necessary, they did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I have one more. You said you didn't want to use green screen or like special effects at all, but did you use it like for maybe little special effects? There were like some.
At some parts. But I try to avoid it as much as possible. I think there are 3, maybe just only 2 really green screen shots in there. And we did use a lot of shots with the monitor, like I showed you in the thing. But no.
Okay, and the little farts that the pig left, it was animated on the scene, or was it comped in? Like it was.
The farts? Yeah, it was in the scene.
It was in the scene.
In the scene, yeah.
But the strange thing was that it was in Netherlands, let's say, taking place, but it wasn't raining at all the whole time.
No. But rain in Stockholm. I have a good story about water and tears. So we use KY jelly. You know what KY jelly is? It's like you use it. It's
okay.
Yeah. So you have to go to a sex shop to buy it. It's a special brand, and it's so funny. It's in tubes. And I sent Marije, who works in the studio, I said, can you get a new tube of KY jelly? And she's really ashamed going into the sex shop. And there's one sex shop in Arnhem. And so she went in and she bought it. And she said, it's not for me, it's for a movie. Well, which she made it worse, actually. But it's great. It's great stuff.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, thank you for the masterclass. And
Thank you.
I also have the technical question. Which camera did you use for the feature movie? And if were there any technical issues that you have to walk through during the production?
So first of all, it's a photo camera, a Canon 5D and a Canon 7D, mostly 7Ds we used. So it's half frame, not we didn't use the full. The 5D is full frame. Yeah, I'm not that good in the technical part, but yeah. Did we have technical difficulties? In that sense, no, because we had Peter, we had our own MacGyver, who really can solve everything. But the only technical difficulty we had was the color grading. Because there's a thing with stop motion, we shoot it on Dragon Frame, that's the program. And you can shoot JPEG and RAW. And I wanted to keep the JPEGs because the JPEGs it's like what you see on the image on the computer is what you get. When you use the RAWs, you have to recreate it. And I kept saying, I want the grading to be on JPEGs. I don't want the RAWs. And they said, no, it's a feature film. We have to do it on RAWs. And then in the grading, they could not find the right LUT to make it the same. So it took forever, and I'm still not happy with the result. And I was very mad about that because, you know, we could have saved so much time just doing it on the JPEGs, which nobody would have seen the difference. So that was the only... But Peter, again, solved it. So next movie will be on RAWs, but then well done. But for me, that was really frustrating. Yeah, thank you, Peter.
You said that Peter did the models as well?
No.
No?
Oh, the moving models. Yeah, he did them. Yeah.
And did he made all the lighting as
Yes.
well?
Yes.
Wow.
He's like a Leonardo da Vinci almost. He's like a person, incredible. So I'm having him on a, how do you say it, a chain. I said, you have to stay in the studio, you can't leave.
And I guess he was in the project since the pre-production until the screening, right?
Yeah. And he's also going to be on the new movie.
Thank you.
And so you have the studio, but the crew still stays the same, or it's every time there is another project, they're taking their own crew?
No. When their own when people come in with their own project, they come in with their own crew, but Peter comes in. He's in there also to help them.
Okay.
And if they want people from our crew, that's possible because everybody's a freelancer, so they can come in whenever they want.
And how does it work? This it's pretty close to your home. That's perfect. Yeah. But for everyone else, it's
they have to come in alone. Yeah, and they stay. So we give them Airbnbs or an apartment, so they can be there 3 nights. And then can go back for 4, or 3 nights at home also. So it was good because then you also have your own life still.
Yeah. So you are saving the money for when you are not renting the studio because you have your own studio, but then you have to pay for the accommodation.
Yes, we do. But at a certain point, we want to buy houses where we can put
like a factory.
Yeah. No, not a factory, but it is nice to also give accommodation. And where I live is beautiful. It's beautiful forest, so we're looking at holiday houses in the neighborhood, trying to, at a certain point, buy a few so they can go there and give them electrical bikes to, Yeah. It's be taken care of with us. Which is important.
Yeah, it's very important. But 4 days a week,
that's also good. Yeah.
Do you have any questions? We are slowly running out of the time. So.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming to.
And you can come up and touch puppets if you want.
Yeah, and if you will have any other questions, Mascha will be here around till tomorrow.
Yes.
So if you have be lucky to catch her,
you grab me, not hard, but
like puppets.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.